Hey, welcome back to Working Class Customs YouTube channel. Welcome back once again to Stable B, one of my favorite places. Hopefully it's starting to become one of your favorite places. I always say our favorite place. We know that we like racetracks better, we like being on the motorcycle better, but we are here once again tonight in Stable B, which is one of our favorite places. So welcome back. Tonight's gonna be a little bit of a different topic. Not here to tell you about motorcycles, I'm not here to tell you about racetracks, I'm not here to tell you about track days or what you're doing wrong or anything like that. I'm just here to give you kind of my backstory. So we're gonna dive into where I come from, what I do, why I'm doing this, what I hope to get out of this YouTube channel, what this whole thing is kind of all about, why I think you should continue to watch and listen. And because of that, make sure you click the subscribe button down below, throw a like on the video while you're there. Now leave me your comments throughout. I wanna hear you guys' stories also. Something that we'll get into a lot is the feedback that I get from you guys, especially my club racers, my track day junkies, the veterans of this sport that have been doing it forever and have way more experience than I do. I live for you guys' comments, I live for you guys' feedback, and I'll get into that a little bit more. So please, throughout the video, leave it down below. You already know what to do. Let's get into it. All right, so I am sitting down. I don't expect to be moving too much throughout this video because I figured I'd just kind of sit here and talk to you guys. And if you're not looking for a backstory on me, your host, Easton, please go ahead and click away because that's all this is gonna be. Not here to give you some divine guidance tonight. Just here to kind of inform you on the purpose of this YouTube channel in general, at least as I'm looking at it, and where I come from and why I decided this was a good idea. So, behind me, this is my 2008 Suzuki GSX-R 750. This is what I would consider my first bike, although it's really not. Prior to this, when I was a senior in high school here in America, I had a 1986 Honda XL600R, which, as a surprise, maybe a sneak peek into the future, I have that same bike again now. It's in a lot of pieces, you may have noticed. Some of those pieces lying around the stable here. Content on that will be coming eventually once I decide to finally dig into it, and that's a project that I've set aside. Anyway, we don't need to get into that. I had that bike in high school. That was my first official bike. I had that for probably about a week before it blew up on me, and then I decided to sell it, and I didn't have a bike again for, what, 2 years? About 2 years, and that's when I bought this. It did not look like this when I bought it. It looked more like this. A lot of green. That green wheel is the same. The blue windshield has been replaced, but is the same color. Let's see, the fender and the seat are the same. Yep, the fender and the seat are the same. That's about it on this bike. I've done a lot of stuff to this bike. I bought this bike in 2018. It's currently 2024, so we've had it for 6 years. I rode it on the road for about 2 years, and I would ride it to work, I would ride it on the weekends, I would do standard motorcycle stuff. I don't necessarily recommend a 750 for a first bike, but I'm also a believer that as long as you can control this hand and not get too happy or too crazy, you can ride anything. That's kind of where my thoughts are at. Now, that whole conversation, I'm gonna reference a lot of different videos because I've made some of these videos before, but that's where my thoughts are at. I have no problem riding this bike. I enjoyed it a lot. Eventually, in 2020, I went to a racetrack. I always wanted to do a track day, I think. That was kind of like my thoughts. But we should circle back a little bit or throw ourselves back just a little bit more. I bought a Gixxer and I bought a sport bike really because of my older brother. Growing up, my older brother had an R6, and then he had a Gixxer 600, and it was like an 07, I think. I rode that once in high school around a parking lot. I loved it. It had amazing handling. Anything that you can test as a non-motorcycle rider in a parking lot, right? I had all these great thoughts on it. I was like, that's the bike for me. So that's what I got. Definitely a sport bike guy growing up because of my brother, because of my uncle, different things in my family. I was a sport bike guy. That's what it was gonna be. Since then, I've kind of adapted just bikes in general, 2 wheels. That's where you're supposed to be. That's where my passion lies, and that's where I'm at. So we've kind of adapted a little bit, but the main point of this channel is track riding. So that's what I'm gonna talk about a lot tonight and hopefully give you a little bit of insight on me. Let's see, okay. So I bought this bike in 2018. I rode it for about 2 years, never went anywhere near a racetrack. Finally, it came time to do my first track day. I had no idea how to do this. I had no friends that had done it, I had none of that. So me and a friend of mine, well, he had an R6 and he wanted to go, but he didn't do too much research on his own, I don't remember. But I remember getting online and just Googling track day near me, and I found a whole bunch of car-related track day stuff. I was like, okay, that's not gonna work. So I typed in racetracks near me, and I found some oval tracks, I found some dirt tracks, I found a drag strip, I found an airport that wasn't even actually a racetrack at all. It was literally just an airport, but it used to be or something, I don't know. Found a bunch of crazy stuff, none of it was track days. And then I found this one racetrack, it was called the Ridge Motorsports Park, which if you haven't been there, side note, definitely go there, that track is awesome. But Ridge Motorsports Park. So I clicked on that other website and saw all this cool stuff. I'm like, okay, this looks sweet. So I looked up Ridge Motorsports Park motorcycle track day. That is what I Googled to find my first track day. I found that was with tracktime.bike, I think is what their website actually is. You type in www.tracktime.bike and it comes up. That was awesome. It was great. I learned a lot about, as you just heard in a recent video, how slow I actually was. I knew I wasn't fast. I didn't think I was like fast, but I felt like I wasn't slow until I went to the racetrack for the first time and I realized, dude, my knee was, you know, a foot and a half from the ground. I was doing like a 2:45, which if you know anything about the Ridge, a 2-minute 45-second lap time is not good. And that was at the end of the day, right? Who knows? I think the first one of the day was probably over 3 minutes. It's not good. I still don't have a super impressive lap time there, but we've come a long way since then. So I did one track day in 2020, and that was kind of it. I just kind of was like, yeah, that was fun. All right. And then on the rest of the summer, you know, I went and rode, and I thought I was faster now, and I had this one up on everyone because I had done the track day. So, you know, I got rid of some of the chicken strip on my tires. I had leaned over, hadn't drug knee, but I had leaned over, I had a full suit, I had track day experience, I was fast now again. That's what I thought, right? Always have these thoughts in your head. And then in 2021, I went and did another one. And I might be mixing up my years. I think 2019 was when I did the first one. So I guess I only had the bike for about a year. And in 2021, or 2020, is when I went and did another track day. And at this point, when I was doing track days, there were still street fairings on this bike. So it still had lights on it, turn signals, the handlebar mirror. And so the first track day of the year that year, I think was probably in May for me. I took the mirror off, put the tape on the lights, and I called it good. And I went and did that track day. And then I brought it home and I was like, all right, yeah, I'll clean it up next weekend. And then I was looking at the calendar and there was another track day in like 2 weeks. And I had been borrowing a trailer from a buddy of mine. And I was like, let me just text him and see if he needs the trailer. Hey, do you need the trailer in the next 2 weeks? No. Okay, sweet. Can I borrow it? Yep. So I kept the trailer and I was like, well, I'll just leave the tape on the bike then. And flash forward through the rest of that year, I did 4 or 5, maybe 6 track days total, all up at the Ridge. And the tape never came off the bike. So that was 2020. Yeah, that was 2020. The winter of 2020, 2021, I decided, hey, I never took the tape off this bike. Let's just go ahead and make this a track bike. That'll be an easy day. It's not gonna be that hard. It's like, I never used it on the road anyway. It's safer. I had now come up with my list of like reasons that I wanted to keep doing track days. Part of that was, as I've mentioned in a different video, you know, I got pulled over doing an amount of speed that was not necessarily ideal. And part of it was also just I enjoy going to the track. Everyone's going the same direction. There's not anything safety related to worry about near as much. You're not worried about traffic. There's not the whole you're invisible thing. It's you and a bunch of other like-minded people doing the exact same thing, albeit some of us are very different levels in speed and everything else, but that's what I wanted to do. So I kept doing track days. I made this a track bike. That's when we got the black fairings. That was really about it. The quick shifter, I guess. I think the black rear wheel back here, a couple of other things, and that was about it. And we still had a blue chain at that point. We were missing these nice new rear sets, and we were missing the Samco hoses. Those all kind of came later, but then I'd set off and I did my first non-Ridge track day on my first, like it was my first day with my track bike. It wasn't at the Ridge. I went down to PIR, Portland International Raceway, terrible racetrack. It's not bad. For all you people out there, Amra, Wimra, I'd like to hear you guys' thoughts on it. Let me know down in the comments. I didn't like it that much. We heard a lot about goose poop that morning. Anyway, I'm not here to blow your ear off too much, but that was that. So I did that, and then I went back to the Ridge, and then I want to say later that year, was it that year or was it later? No, it was definitely, yep, in 2021, we did PRR, we did the Ridge, and then we went down and we did this big old trip, me and my buddy, and Cole, who you'll see on the channel kind of periodically, and if you go watch JK Moto Podcast, I definitely recommend checking out the podcast. Link will be down, up over there. It's also, just look it up, there's a playlist for JK Moto Podcast. Do a weekly motorcycle podcast that talks a lot about different stuff like this and everything else. Anyway, but it was Cole, my buddy, me and my buddy drove from Washington all the way down to Utah where Cole's at. Did a track day the next day down there, rode some Harleys throughout Utah for a little bit, then drove out to Thunder Hill, did a track day, then drove back up to the Ridge and did a double track day, all in the course of about a week and a half, 2 weeks. So that was sweet, that was an awesome trip. It was my first taste of, can I successfully travel across the country to different racetracks and do track days? And that's kind of where I have settled of what I really enjoy doing is just going and seeing the country by seeing different racetracks. The point of this video tonight and the point of my kind of introduction, and it's now 2024. I've been to Southern California, Arizona, Georgia, South Carolina, Alabama, not yet, but I will be next week, Utah, Washington, Oregon. I've ridden in all these different states, and I'm just looking to add more and more to my list, and that's what we plan on doing. As I've done all that, I've found that it's difficult to get info. There's a couple Facebook pages, you know, Track Day Junkies, Track Day Addicts, whatever it might be, but that's about it. All of the major influencers here on YouTube just started doing track days, or they were like big road guys and did like maybe 1 or 2 track days, and they're like, yeah, that's cool, but track day stuff doesn't get the viewership that the road stuff does, because it's not as daredevil, it's not as death defying. But in my opinion, it's really freaking cool that we have people out there spending their own personal money just to race motorcycles against their best friends who are also spending their own money. Just so at the end of the day, one of them can say, I'm a little bit faster than you this year, and then flop it around all around the next year. But every once in a while you get a shining star, lug nut, that takes a little bit further, comes out of the weeds, leaves the canyon, hits the track, goes kind of nuts, and makes his way up to the illustrious Moto America here in America, right? And the goal for me is not necessarily to ever make it to that level. I realized a long time ago, I'm not a MotoGP star, I'm never going to be. I'm never gonna be good enough for Moto America per se. Maybe I'll race in it one day, maybe, but I haven't even started club racing yet. What I enjoy doing is going to different racetracks, checking them all out, driving all across the country to do it, putting on huge trips to different racetracks in different parts of the country, seeing the different people, the way the different organizations are run, and all of that. I also like wrenching on the bike, which is what you will see a lot of here in the stable, right in Stable B. So you'll see a lot of me talking about my thoughts and feelings on the bikes and wrenching on the bikes, working on the bikes, putting on the new parts and whatever else. And having a track bike, you can kind of see this damage back here. There's a lot of duct tape, scratches, scrapes, whatever else. Sometimes you put them down and sometimes you got to work on them. And so that's what I try and put out. But the goal of the channel here is that you guys understand that I'm not necessarily the end all be all. I don't know everything, but you guys are either the new listeners that are coming in to get the info, or the older veteran guys that I talk to that are here to correct me, or at least back up what I'm saying, throw in your 2 cents, 10 cents, however many cents it might be, and understand that I don't know everything. I'll admit that all day long, and I ask for your help. You guys have been giving it to me and I love it. And it lives down in the comments on these videos. So we're building this awesome community. I'm enjoying it a lot. I'm learning myself, and I do actually take a lot of this stuff on board. And you'll see that some of the tips that I have gotten from you guys have come out later on. I've taken them on board. I'll tell people about them. You know, when I'm talking to people in person, I just talk to them. I don't be like, oh, go check out this YouTube video. So if I make a YouTube video and then I get some corrections on it or some updated knowledge from a veteran like you, I can take that to my buddy and say, hey man, this guy just said, check this out, let's go try this. And I can give him that info. So we're really just trying to build this community and get more track motorcycle content flooding the internet. That was my goal with this channel. That remains the goal. It's hard to find info on track bikes, on track riding, on track days, and everything like that. And then club racing, racing in Moto America, even MotoGP here in America, not very many people follow it. So the goal was to just flood the internet with motorcycle racing and down to track days and kind of try and keep it off the street as much as possible. Now, on the other side of that, you street riders that might be watching this video, please stick around. I'm not telling you you can't ride a motorcycle on the street. I'm not saying that at all. I still do it a little bit. You'll see plates on the bike back there. There's plates on my Harley over there. I have a Harley designated for riding on the street. I'm not against it at all. We need you because we need you to come to the racetrack. We need you to go watch Moto America races. We need you to watch MotoGP. We need you to listen to the best podcast out there, JK Moto Podcast. But we need all the motorcycle riders. Everyone on 2 wheels, we need you to keep our community, keep our sport, keep it all alive. And so that's what I'm asking of you guys. Hopefully that gave you guys a little bit of insight. I am not a certified mechanic. I've said that in a lot of videos. I'm not a club racer. I'm not registered to race. I'm not a track day organization owner. I could make a list of a lot of things that I'm not, but I can tell you what I am. It's a passionate enthusiast for life on 2 wheels. And I'm here to give you, my viewers, my friends, my commenters, whatever you want to call yourselves, the JK Moto / Working Class Customs fan page, whatever it is. I'm here to give you guys as much info as I possibly can about the stuff that I love. And I'm here to gladly accept all of your positive feedback, constructive criticism, whatever it might be, on how I can be better, other people watching my videos can be better, and how we can continue to grow this community and grow this sport. So if you've been in my comments, give me feedback, give me suggestions, throwing stuff out there for the rookies, the juniors, the whatever that are coming up in the track day life. Thank you. I appreciate it so much. I love it. It's been great. Yes, it helps with viewership, but more importantly, someone like me 4, 5, 6 years ago can now get on YouTube and search track day or track bike or something like that, and not only have a video from a track day junkie like myself, but also have a comment section full of good, constructive feedback and criticism on what all you veterans and other track day junkies think is important to know. Whew. Hopefully that gave you a little bit of insight on me. I'm Easton. This is Working Class Customs YouTube channel. This is Stable B. Here in the next couple weeks, we'll be moving around a little bit. We're making a trip out to a different side of the country. Not different side, but different part of the country, doing what we like to do on this channel. So stick around on the channel. Once again, click the subscribe button down below. Throw a like on the video, and please come check back next week. We got videos every Monday for now, and we're coming up on some pretty good stuff. We're talking Barber Motorsports Park, a couple more bike reviews. I was about to say track reviews, but it's just one track. A couple bike reviews. Gonna do a sweet podcast episode here coming up. So stick around on the channel. Hope you guys enjoyed that. If you have any questions for me, please leave them down in the comments. You can also reach me at JK Moto Podcast on Instagram. I will answer any messages. I check there quite often. So I'll answer any messages you send me. Go follow us on Instagram. And hope you guys are enjoying the content. I'm gonna keep it up. So keep up the comments. My rookies, or not my rookies, my veterans, my track day junkies, my club racers. We enjoy it. Thank you.